The college football experience Sun Belt 2023 season preview and picks episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by our very own Patreon. Score exclusive perks, content, and contests, including our NFL win totals contest with a $1,000 prize on the line. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Once again, that is sportsgamblingpodcast.com Patreon. We're also brought to you by Parlay Play. Yes, Parlay Play is a lead pipe lock for parlaying player props. Go to parlayplay.io. Use the promo code SGP for 100% deposit bonus today. Once again, that is parlayplay.io. Use the promo code SGP for 100% deposit bonus. And remember, as always, folks, too, let it ride.
Hey, everybody, Jim McMahon here, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Sun Belt 2023 season preview and picks episode. Oh, shout out to the chat. It's moving along. People want to know about the conference that has all of our hearts. In 2023, you want real football? Not this real college football, not this bullshit. The Sun Belt Conference.
Hell yeah.
I forget who their commissioner is, but damn it, he's doing good work.
Doing the Lord's work.
I like him anonymous. All right. I'm excited to talk, honestly. Like, I get every year, if you would have told me 10 years ago that the Sun Belt would be what I'm looking forward to the most, I would say, even though I did go to a Middle Tennessee, Idaho game when they were both in the Sun Belt.
It's on brand, let's be honest, Colby.
No, but it got a lot better. It got a lot better, and
yeah.
I am super excited.
You would have said you were excited about it. But, we
used to say this as a joke.
You're a hipster trying to be hip sometimes.
Back at ECU, we would joke around and say, you're going to end up fuck around and lose to us, end up in the Sun Belt. Right? And now it's like, no. Now it's like ECU fans are like, no, we want to be in the Sun Belt.
I bet you Middle Tennessee probably wishes they didn't leave.
True.
Voluntarily.
True. But hey, you gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Perhaps you're listening to this and you're like, who is the idiot talking to you? Well, my name is Colby Swiggin Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
Middle Tennessee was like this.
Fucking country ass fucked up town. Shit flying in my mouth. The fuck, I can't see pollen. Let's get the fuck out of this country, mother.
One trip to the Rock. And that's a great debate. Who is the real The Rock? It's my Sean Connery. Talks like this.
Sounds just like him. Real The Rock.
Remember when Sean Connery doubled down on hitting a woman? Fucking maniac. Only in the 1980s.
And claimed he was going to get more
ass
snatch
because of
it.
Sean Connery.
Might have been the 70s.
So you have two Rocks in the Sun Belt. The Rock at Southern Miss, the Rock at App State. Southern Miss is the older Rock, so we'll just go ahead and say that's the real Rock. Love you, App. But look, I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back. Don't worry, not when they were in the Sun Belt. But
wait, the Coastal Athletic Association.
The Coastal, not Colonial.
Yeah, can't
Coastal,
say that. Can't say that.
Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh! Yeah, buddy.
it's going to be a hard ticket to Hawaii for JMU because I think we're still bowl ineligible. So couldn't go to Hawaii.
No, you're not Sun Belt eligible to win the championship, but you
we
are
bowl
eligible.
Okay, that's what it is.
Baby
So
steps.
You bowl that turkey. Look, we got third man in the booth here. Sun Belt, Fun Belt, God, some say. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, home brew making, tobacco road living, the free like giving. Farmer. Earned the Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
And you know what, guys? I'm drinking an Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest out in the stores. You know what that means? That means it's almost football season.
Whew, there
Damn
you go.
right. What do we got? Just over 2 weeks till till season kickoff.
August 9th when we're recording, so we're right there. We're right fucking there, man.
Boom.
Shout out to the chat. Everyone's rolling along. And look, guys, we were going to talk some, but we want to jump into Sun Belt action. But before we do that, it's been a wild couple of years in the offseason. Some would say the off seasons the past couple of years have been wilder than the actual seasons.
I mean, when did this start? Like 3
years
ago?
3 years ago, Texas and Oklahoma got on their high horse, mainly Texas and Oklahoma, like little bitches. We're like, hey, we're gonna follow you. But they announced they were going to the SEC, and then last year, 4th of July weekend, you saw USC and UCLA bolt for the Big Ten, which then changed everything. I mean, teams going every which way.
Yeah.
And you had the death of a 110-year conference last Friday, pretty much. And now there's speculation. There's talks. Notre Dame behind the scenes as a power player saying, we will stay with you, ACC. I think if you lock in on Stanford and Cal. But that's not the only one. There is talks about the SMU Mustangs. What the fuck is the Atlantic Coast Conference going to mean in, say, a year? In, say, 10 days? Because the cutoff date is in 6 days. August 15th. Are we really going to have – this is amazing to me. This is amazing because on this very podcast, I've talked about the half-empty crowds in the ACC. We can go occasionally Pitt is half-empty because it's a pro stadium and it's away from the campus, right? I'd say never really sells out, but yeah, there. You got Boston College, half empty, right? You got Syracuse, which occasionally will show up, but they have empty games. You have Virginia, empty, right? Miami, empty. And recently, Georgia Tech hasn't really been packing much punch. And Wake Forest, I think you could argue, doesn't really pack a lot of punch. So I like this idea of owning this. We want every team with a half-ass fan base in our conference.
It's the opposite of the Sun Belt.
It is the opposite of the Sun Belt. What the hell am I missing here? To me, if you're going to grab Stanford,
say that it's not really off. Like what you're saying isn't inaccurate. It's funny, but they are just like academic, like football second university.
No one cares about academics.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I get it.
Buddy, this is fucking hilarious. So wait, you're going to add Stanford and Cal, but not Oregon State and Washington State? Because you would want to grab teams that they could play around there, at least. Have a little pod.
It's 100% like hoity-toity snobbery. That's exactly what's going on.
I almost couldn't believe that this was news. Nick, you're an ACC guy. What the hell is your opinion of this potential Bay Area part of the Atlantic Ocean?
Well, I mean, on the surface, I hate it. I don't like national conferences. I don't like a conference to go from coast to coast. And if the ACC does this, then basically 3 out of the big 4 are basically coast to coast, which I'm not a fan of. But I was reading some other columns, and I mean, I guess it only makes sense if this forces Notre Dame to join in football, but I don't see that happening. I think Notre Dame is not going to join any conference in football.
Yeah, they're not.
So why are we trying to appease Notre Dame? I mean, really, who gives a shit about the other sports?
No, I think because them not in the Big Ten or SEC is a win for the ACC. Yeah. So you need them to stay independent or be a part of the ACC. And if they're happy with their deal now that they have Stanford and Cal to play, I think but that's what's hilarious. This is going to be like the Texas thing, asking for the bigger piece of pie, and then at the end of the day, Texas still fucks them over.
Yeah, but I did read somebody's tweet, and I guess it made sense where just staying pat. I mean, you saw what conference didn't make any moves. That was the Pac-12.
Oh yeah,
and you see the Pac-12 is basically no more. So maybe the ACC has to make some moves. But no, I don't like it. I mean, I don't want two teams in California. I guess the ACC could be the American Coast Conference. The
American Coast Conference.
Encapsulate both coasts, but no, I don't like it at all. But I don't like any of this. So
could be the All Coast Conference.
The All Coast Conference.
Start getting
why
SMU's
would you not get San Diego
on
State
the Gulf
then?
Coast.
I'm so confused. I'm so confused here because if football is driving the needle here,
you would think they would grab more than just two, right?
Yeah, it's like San Diego State would be super appealing. Why not form a Pacific part of the ACC where you get San Diego State, Stanford, Cal, Washington State, and Oregon State, and you have a pretty fucking good conference. You could even get Fresno if you wanted to. I know it's a gigantic fucking conference, and you're talking 22 teams,
right?
20 teams, actually.
There's 14 right now. So if you want to add 4, I was thinking, all right, if you want to expand, I think geographically, UConn and Memphis make a bunch of sense. Yeah, that's still relatively East Coast.
Too, I feel like, but the SMU part is hilarious to me because SMU.
Well, it puts them at an odd number. That puts them at what, 17?
Yeah.
And so the private school, the private religious school.
That's why they would go for Tulane and not Memphis, by the way.
Is
private. They're just like Wake Forest of Louisiana.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's
definitely
appealing. Apparently, to Jim Phillips, that's appealing.
Well, that is definitely their brand. Although the irony is when they got Florida State, that was essentially West Virginia back in the day. But since Florida State was winning so damn much, they're like, screw it.
What if they go for Rice? That's on brand. They play Stanford a lot. What if Rice gets?
There's so many what ifs. I don't even want to talk about this because it's depressing.
We got to talk about the SMU side of this because this is a no-brainer. SMU, shout out to them because they're taking football really serious because Stanford and Cal would want the same amount of money or a decent chunk of the money that the ACC schools are getting, right? SMU, according to reports,
5 to 7 years.
They don't even care about the money. They said, we don't even want the profit. Get us in there, and we're good. So that makes it a no-brainer for me. If you're the ACC, you're saying, hey, bring in SMU tomorrow.
How much money must they have?
Jeez. I mean, we don't even care about profit.
And I think Cal and Stanford were asking for like 60% or so. So you're kind of getting them on a bargain also. So in that regard, maybe it makes sense to get bigger now, especially if you lose, Florida State and Clemson in a couple years or something. So I guess it makes sense, but do I like it? No, I don't like it.
Can I say this? I am not convinced at all that West Virginia and Cincinnati wouldn't jump. Like the Big 12 is newly solid. And if the Big 10,
but it's secure.
It is secure.
Well, they have a grant of rights too. They have it's not as much as the ACC grant of rights, but it's a pretty substantial amount. And if you're jumping to the ACC, that's on par with the Big 12 right now, and won't be on par in a couple years.
But the real thing is the stability.
Well, that grant of rights doesn't start till 2025.
But right now, you have Florida State publicly saying they're gone. You have 7 other schools that have said like they formed this committee. So West Virginia would be suicidal to leave.
Yeah,
the dumbest move
just I guess
in the history of college
weeks.
football.
And I think if you look at the Big 12 teams now, I don't think any of them are all that attractive to the Big 10 or the SEC. Because if they were, they would have already grabbed them.
Yeah,
but there is a couple potential ACC schools that are attractive to those conferences. So
Sankey was on Feinbaum the other day, and he said. And I thought this was it's kind of a low-key shot at Florida State saying if it doesn't improve our markets, basically saying that North Carolina and Virginia would be the schools we'd be interested in. Not
Kansas would be attractive to the Big 10.
Okay, but no, Sankey was saying that that North Carolina and Virginia would be the reason for expansion if they did. It wouldn't be Florida schools or South Carolina schools.
Would Kansas be that attractive? I mean, I think if they were that attractive, they'd be in the Big 10 right now.
And would Kansas want to leave? I mean, I guess they would for the money, but the best basketball conference, because I think Kansas still cares about basketball more than anything else.
But, I mean, just because they go to the Big 10 I don't think that hurts them in basketball.
Yeah, it's still a legit basketball conference.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought, man.
It is pretty crazy news.
I mean.
This keeps going.
Stanford and Cal to the ACC. If you told me that 10 years ago, I mean,
I always knew I liked Alan Cooley. Nick does make a good point. I make lots of good points.
Shout out to Alan Cooley.
How would they
Legend.
do in
Yeah.
the ACC? How would Stanford and
Well,
Cal-
no, what do you mean? Those Pac-12 schools own the ACC. They're like fucking 30 cents. They're gonna win. That's gonna be their first ACC championship.
first conference
Yeah,
championship? Yeah.
first conference championship there. But other news: Texas A&M shuts down their 12th man NIL collective because the IRS threatened them.
Ooh.
Yeah, what's gonna happen there?
Why did the IRS threaten them? Are they not paying their taxes or something?
They're saying they're a nonprofit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sneaky. The old quarterback sneak. And then how about the Northwestern? This Northwestern as a university is the biggest piece of shit in all of America, in my opinion. Like, so their athletic director, their president, they don't say boo at Big Ten Media Day, right? They have had so many gutless moments in this summer, I would say. From A saying no, he's not suspended, or he's suspended 2 weeks, and then it's like, you know what? I'm sorry, public pressure. We're gonna fire Pat Fitzgerald, and then really never go in front of a microphone, have zero accountability, and then when a bunch of your coaches show up, and I think one player wearing a Cats Against the World T-shirt with Pat Fitzgerald's number on it.
Oh yeah, they come out and
they
slam
come
it.
out and they say, "See, they fuck them, dude. I hope they never win another. I hope they disband their fucking football program." And I never wish for less football. I fucking hate them. They are the worst. They are the biggest bitch institution in all of America, man. All of America. I mean, just cut Fitzgerald his money. Look, and I don't even know if he knew or not, but I'm just saying, who cares? Like, the way that they handled this shows how the fuck they are.
I mean,
all right.
In terms of a university, they are as weaselly as they come.
They're the worst, man. I cannot. Derek Gregg releases a statement expressing disappointment in the. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking cowards! Cowards. Other news that I wanted to talk about. Well, I guess also, where did you guys have Washington State and Oregon State landing? Shout out to the chat mentioning that.
It seemed that. I mean, I guess the AAC is a possibility, but I would think Mountain West is the most obvious.
I mean, it changes every day. Just, today was maybe the ACC is going to grab Stanford Cal. The day before that, it was the Pac-12 Mountain West merger type thing. So who the hell knows? But I think if Cal and Stanford, if the Pac-12 is officially dead, then it's pretty an obvious jump to the Mountain West. I think they would welcome them in there.
San Diego State might be listening to the college experience because they tried to quickly form this conference.
Yeah,
of like the best Mountain West schools, the best American schools, and I still think this is what should happen. And then the remaining four, I still think that's what should happen, but it's probably not because the sport never makes sense. But how about this tweet by Matt Williams? How does a football team with the 57th best viewership, that is Oregon State, 57th, ahead of Rutgers, ahead of Miami, Florida, ahead of Wake Forest, ahead of UCF, ahead of Arizona, ahead of Louisville, ahead of Colorado, have no home, and never mind the fact that they're one of only 4 schools in the past 5 years to have a football team win 10 wins, a basketball team reach the Elite Eight, and a baseball team in the College World Series. It's fucking amazing. When you put it like that, you're just like, how are they getting left behind?
Well, it's because TV execs don't care about that.
Well, I mean, if they're averaging more viewership than Miami, the Miami Hurricanes.
I blanked there. What team are we talking about again?
Oregon State.
Oregon State.
No CTE there. But yeah, I don't know. I just found that stat unbelievable. Okay, let's get into it. I also shout out to the NEC conference and the FCS because they have signed a deal with CBS Sports. They're going to do 2 weekday games this year, trying to get more on national television. I think CBS is going to see on October 12th, Wagner, the vacuum company, is going to take on St. Francis, and Long Island, the fucking Sharks, are going to take on Central Connecticut State. Guys, more weekday college football. What's not to like?
Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. Shout
now
out to
make sure we get some lines on those games, sports books. All right.
Yeah, exactly. If you're doing lines on slam ball, damn it, then I want lines on FCS. Well, I mean, They always do it, but how about you don't release them on like Friday night? All right. Unbelievable. But anyway, subscribe to the FCS College Football Experience. All right, folks.
I want lines on a plate in front of me right now.
Oh,
That's
look
what I
at
want.
you. There
Those
you
Bears.
go. Look, folks, before we get to the Sun Belt action, where we project every single school, win total over or under, talk about who we got winning the Sun Belt and their trajectory, I want to tell you that the College Football Experience is brought to you by Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon. Yes, sign up for the Patreon to get access to exclusive contests, including the NFL win totals contest with $1,000 for first place. What are you doing, folks? Besides the season-long contest, they also have weekly contests just for the patrons, plus a SGP Stories podcast. All right, completely ad-free and full of behind-the-scenes stories from SGPN. There's even a Discord channel, too, just for the patrons. Only you can prevent corporate gambling. Do your part and sign up today. We've been rocking independent since 2011. Join the movement. All right. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. That's SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. All right. We are back on the College Football Experience Sun Belt 2023 season preview episode. And we're going to go from lowest win total to highest. And we start off with Patty C's ULM Warhawks. Where? I believe that's who's the guy that blocked me for the UCF?
Tim Brando.
Tim Brando. And I actually, you know what's crazy? He's actually like flipped his opinion, but I'm still blocked.
Yeah, Brando became a man of the people.
Something happened during COVID. He changed, man. He changed. If you could change, and I can change, everybody can change. Look, I'm still blocked though, and I don't really give a shit. Shout out to I still think it's a bitch move to block somebody, but still, I agree with this opinion on certain matters that I've seen. He is a ULM graduate. So is the great Stan Humphries, a true lawn chair. Folks, ULM. Terry Bowden, never fade a Bowden in a big game. Patty, see, the question is how many big games are on the schedule because the win total is sitting at 3.5.
By the way, why don't we have a T-shirt, a College Football Experience T-shirt saying "Never fade a Bowden in a big game"?
We do need that.
We do.
Because there's only one Bowden coaching right now, and they don't play in any.
How
big
come the other Bowden hasn't came back yet? What's he doing? Just sitting off dad's money, fucking, hanging out on a yacht,
chilling.
I wonder how rich. I wonder what his net worth was.
Old,
Tommy Bowden had a good track record.
Tom
man.
Bone.
Tulane, got him an undefeated season, won a national championship in '98.
Who was that? Clemson too?
Yeah. Woody Dantzler era.
Well, look, guys, ULM is not the easiest place to win, but I'm seeing a 3.5 line, and the first 2 years, Bowden's gone 4-8 both years.
Oh,
oof.
That's coming off a 0-10 at Matt Viator.
What am I missing here?
I mean, what you're missing is the fact that yes, he did lose his starting quarterback to what was that, North Texas, I believe that took
yes, Chandler Rogers.
Patty C watches it's his favorite character in Friends is Chandler.
I think if you're watching Friends at all. But no, it's Joey. It's Joey. That makes me better.
Is there even a guy named Joey in that show?
Well, the fact that you don't know is good.
Okay.
So, there you go. Good comeback.
Guys, ULM was ass last year, but 4 wins, that would still hit the over. So, I mean, I guess, is that what you're saying?
Right. Exactly. You would think a couple years, year 3 is usually when a new coach really starts hitting his stride if they're a good coach. And I think we're considering Terry Bowden a pretty good coach here. So on the surface, before jumping into the schedule, I think the over is pretty attractive, especially at plus 135 odds.
Yeah, even though they got completely fucking destroyed in the portal.
True.
Like if the portal didn't exist, ULM might win the Sun Belt this year. But I think you raise a good point. And look, you got to like the first 2 weeks of the season because they take on Army, move into the shotgun. The first ever game with Army at shotgun. I'm going to need a barf bucket when I watch that game. But
long trip.
Yeah, long trip down to Monroe, Patty C.
There you go.
To take on ULM. But then Lamar, Blaine Morgan's gone as the head coach of Lamar. They could be 2-0 out the gate, and you're going to be feeling super, super good about your over.
Lamar 1-10 at the FCS level.
Yeah.
That's
why they fired Blaine
guaranteed.
Morgan.
Yeah, that'll do it. I think they lose to Army. I think they beat Lamar.
Army out of the gun, though? You're that confident?
Dude, Army is going to be running the rock still. It's not like it's not going to completely change. They're not going to be running air raid out of the gun. They're going to be
saying it's just
still a lot of option concepts out of the gun.
This is a team that beat Louisiana last year.
Well, Colby, you're saying the schedule's tough, and I'm not going to disagree with you. But last year, their out of conference was at Texas, at Alabama, and Nichols at home. So if anything, out of conference, there's at least 2 winnable games, and I have them starting off 2-0 before dropping the game to Texas A&M.
Yeah. Can you imagine if they would beat Road
Wait,
Rash
who
Face?
was their fourth non-conference?
Ole Miss on November 18th.
No, last
Classic.
Oh, last year it was Army. So good point. I for 1 second I thought it was just 3, but okay. So I guess
identical
No,
non-conference.
it's easier.
1 and 3.
No, it's easier.
Only because Army
Nichols is better than Lamar.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
but still, they beat Nichols 35-7 pretty easily. Now the Army game they lost 48-24. But I'm going ULM week 1. It is a big game, so don't fade Bowden.
Rule as old as time. I'm giving them an L. So
I'm gonna go 2-2. 2-2.
Wow. Generous.
Okay. Then they the conference play starts out home to Appalachian. So they get from the Sun Belt East. They get Appalachian State. They get Georgia Southern in Statesboro. And wait, it's only 2 teams each, right?
Yeah, just 2 from. Yep.
So that's terrible to draw those. You don't get Old Dominion. You don't get James Madison. So you know what I mean?
With the Sun Belt East, I think every team is good except for Old Dominion. So there's 2 teams in the West that get ODU, and they obviously have an advantage. And unfortunately, ULM is not one of them.
Another thing that I don't like about the schedule is you would want to get Texas State and Louisiana in Monroe. They're on the road. They only get Arkansas State at home. Guys, I hate to do it. I think I'm going to take the under on ULM. I think 3-9 is what's going to happen. They might be a better football team. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's right. I think the number's accurate.
You know, you look at the roster, you look at the schedule, and I agree. It's hard to get to 4 unless they win every 50-50 game. But the same thing has been said the last 2 years. So I'm going to give Bowden the benefit of the doubt, and I think they get to 4 wins again. I'm on the over.
All right, hold on. So hear me out here. Let me rethink my ink. Army, win. Lamar, win. Arkansas State, win.
At Texas State, win. Maybe at Louisiana, they beat the Ragin Cajuns last year.
No, under 3-9. Next year, though. Next year's when that tide goes to turn, buddy. Next year.
It's easy to see a tide turn.
How do you see what you're doing?
As far as I can see, was it Kennard Snyder, the only player in the preseason all-conference first 2 teams, second team defensive lineman. There's not a lot of talent on this roster. And with Army and road trip to A&M and a road trip to Ole Miss in the non-conference, look, 1-3, and then like you said, they get some tough cross-division games, 3-9. At best, 2-10. No, Bowden has proven he's going to get to at least 3 here, but I'm riding the under.
As far as trajectory, I got them flat.
I got him flat too. I think Bowden. He proved this at Akron. He proved this at Auburn. I think probably next year they will win more than 3.5 games, or their win total will be more than 3.5 games. But I don't know that I can say the trajectory is great because they get fucking destroyed in the portal every year.
Yeah.
So
I just think he's a program builder. So even though
I think it's harder though now than it used to be,
probably
because of the rating of the portal.
You would think the Bowdens, because Bobby Bowden was notorious for pulling guys last minute on the recruiting trail, and that's kind of like that magic trick that Shane Beamer magic.
Yeah,
a little Terry Bowden magic makes sense in the transfer portal.
Can we talk about that? Actually, I know this is off topic, but how about the NCAA denied the waiver for Devontae Walker, the wide receiver from North Carolina, and then Darrell Jackson, the defensive lineman from Florida State? So let me get this straight. And JT Daniels can go to a different school every single
I don't get it.
And with Devontae Walker, he's got like a grandmother that's really sick. So like, I don't understand. So he was at North Carolina Central, never played for them because look, they canceled their COVID season. He transferred to Kent State, so that burnt his one transfer, even though he never fucking played, right? And now they're burning him on this.
But hold on. So take Keaton Slovis. He's transferred to 3 different schools now.
They're making this shit up, man. Now
Why was he able to?
Yeah, now Daryl Jackson, this is a huge loss for Florida State on the defensive line because they were penciling him as a starter, I believe. But I think the NCAA is in the right because he transferred from Miami, and that should never fucking happen. All right. But man, I mean, random. The NCAA just makes no fucking sense.
Never does.
It's like, let me just randomly shit on these two people's lives. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like everyone else.
The only one.
It's like that Naked Gun meme where it's like nothing to see here, and all that shit is going on behind them. Like a bus is on fire, and like rockets are going off in the air. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, sorry, I'm derailing it. But you made me think of it with the ULM transfer thing. I'm like, why do they get destroyed? Why? I don't know. It's just they're not consistent on this thing.
All right, so we're all on the under.
We're on the, but I will say that trajectory. I think he's a program builder, and he's got a little bit of a salesman. He's a Bowden, so long term it's going to work. But this is a tough year.
Right.
So
under.
Wow,
Patty C.
No. What? I'm sorry. I'm on the over. I misspoke. I said we're all on the under. I'm on the over. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm on the under. Next up, we got Texas State. Texas tough. San Marcos. Is it gonna be rocking this fall? Because they go out and the Bobcats. Did we really think Texas State was that bad last year? Because they beat App State. They randomly beat App State, but Spavital's gone. And now in walks in, G.J. Kinney. They were 4-8 a season ago, but man, they bring in a shit ton of transfers from Incarnate Word. This is basically Incarnate Word. Who should have beat North Dakota State? They got absolutely robbed. Remember that fumble in the North Dakota State game in the playoffs?
Yeah,
absolutely robbed. But anyway, they bring in like 30 transfers. I feel like from Incarnate Word. But Malik Hornsby transfers in from Arkansas. He's going to be starting. They also have TJ Finley getting all the SEC retreads at the quarterback spot. Calvin Hill's back at the running back spot. They also have Bo Corrales. Remember him from North Carolina?
Dude, this is his 7th year. So 5 years at UNC, went to SMU, got hurt, and now he's there. Bo Corrales has been around forever.
That's another thing. It's like you're penalizing these other kids. Meanwhile, you got guys in like there's a tight end for Miami he's like fucking 28 years old. It's like, dude, how are you burning these random people? It's like they're playing roulette with the players' lives.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what do you guys make of this hire?
But I mean, as true D-Gens, I think we'd be in favor of roulette.
Definitely. Just let us watch and let us bet on it.
G.J. Kinney.
G.J. Kinney comes in. This guy's running the air raid, played quarterback at Tulsa, and now an interesting hire, I feel like. And air raid,
34 years old. Young buck.
34 years old.
34 years
Still
young.
doing Jaeger bombs, I guarantee you.
12-2 in one season in Incarnate Word, finished number 3 in the stats.
I think it's a good hire. I think he can do well here. I just think it might take some time.
So
it's a nice
what
start.
You're saying, yeah, I mean, well, that win total is sitting at 4.5. They won 4 a year ago. Yeah. I understand the brand new coaching thing.
Here's something to be concerned about. They were throwing the ball around at Incarnate Word.
They also had Lindsey Scott, who was a fucking beast.
Yeah. I'm seeing on that note, Malik Hornsby projected up by our lads and Lindy's as a starter. And what's it called? His career completion percentage is 46, 18 of 39. So a relatively small sample size, but that's not good.
Not a very accomplished passer.
Yeah.
If you're running the option or something, maybe you got some. Maybe you got somebody. But yeah, and if I'm looking at the schedule, I see 3 sets of back-to-back away games.
Yeah,
they get Georgia Southern. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let's talk about this non-con, because this non-con is very tricky, because you have at Baylor and at UTSA.
Loss.
Yep.
To start, back-to-back away to start the season. Then Jackson State, and they're still very talented. TC Taylor takes over for Deion Sanders. They still have a talented roster.
He didn't take all the Louis.
Yeah.
He left some
They
Louis
still have
there.
a talented roster. And then the Nevada Wolfpack with Ken Wilson.
In year 2, maybe they're ahead of where Texas State is in year 1 under a new coach. What do you think?
2-2. I think they beat Nevada, beat Jackson State, but man, those games are going to be close.
I think I agree. I think 2-2, but it could very easily be 1-3.
And Lindsey Scott did join the Bobcats coaching staff. There we go.
Patty C hates the fact that we hate on Nevada. Here he comes. Here he comes showing Nevada some love.
Last year in the first game of that coach's tenure and lost by 24 points.
Wait, what?
Texas State.
No, New Mexico State last year, right?
No. So Nevada won 38-14.
Yeah, but you realize Incarnate Word was coached by G.J. Kenny, and they went to Nevada and won by like 30.
Yeah, well, maybe
yeah,
Word was more talented than Texas. That's an interesting point. How do you calculate that, Matt?
Yeah, how you doing now?
No, that's a great question. I mean, they got their ass kicked by Nevada last year by 24. But the coach kicked Nevada's ass.
Well, I don't get but they're counting.
Presumably similarly talented roster, Texas State and Incarnate Word, right?
2-2.
Idiots. 0-4.
0-4.
Maybe I'll give them one. I might give them one.
Okay. Now the Sun Belt Conference play starts on September 30th. They head to the Rock. Welcome to the Rock. Take on Southern Miss. Then at Louisiana, the Ragin Cajuns. Then home to ULM. Then they get a bye week, and they're home to Troy. Home to Georgia.
I like to break it up in chunks of 4 if we could, and I think in that chunk, the best I see is 1 and 3.
So Southern Miss, at Louisiana, loss. Home to ULM.
Maybe that's one you get.
Maybe that's a win. Then bye week, home to Troy. No,
Louisiana has been sliding a little bit over the past couple of years.
They get one. They get one in there.
Yeah, that's probably ULM.
1 and 3.
Louisiana has been sliding, but at home, I think they're still pretty good, and I think they're better than Texas State in year 1 of a new coach. So right now, I have them with 3 wins, as does Colby. But
again,
that Nevada and the ULM game, it's not like that's a surefire win.
No, not at all.
Either of them.
So the Jackson State game. Like, I actually believe Jackson State is on a similar talent level than Texas State.
Right.
So buckle up. But yeah, the final 4 games. So we got them at 3 wins. Patty, see how many wins you have, Matt?
2 and 6.
Okay. Home to Georgia Southern, at Coastal Carolina, at Arkansas State.
That's got potential.
That definitely has potential. Butch Jones could be fired by then.
They won that game by 3 last year in San Marcos.
Home to South Alabama to end the season. I'm on the under with Texas State.
Again, best case scenario, I think maybe they win 1 out of those 4, and that would be 4 wins. I'm on the under as well. It's minus 175, so I'm not going to lock it, but I feel pretty good about this under here.
I feel real good.
Lock it up. Oh, there we
go. We got a new guy in the chat says Texas State goes over. How about that?
Well, GJ Kenny, that's a weird initial.
To say, but
he could really prove something.
True. They were really good last year.
Incarnate Word came out. I feel like
Incarnate Word was, Patty C's locking it up. The under on the Texas State Bobcats. Let's go. All right. Program trajectory, I put us flat just because we need to see GJ Kinney prove it to us in the FBS. He's proved it on the FCS level, but now he's got to do it on the FBS. What'd you do with program trajectory, Patty C?
I said about equal. I mean, I think he's got high-end potential, so maybe my opinion will change, but
I agree. I mean, I do think it's a good hire, but that's kind of just wishful thinking right now. We got to see him actually produce here. And I think a successful season would be 4-8. Anything above that, and I think you have to feel really good if you're a Bobcat fan.
They got to bring in more talent, and you don't want a quarterback running the air raid with 46% completion percentage. Improve on that, and I'll be hopeful.
And by the way, I just noticed that I forgot Old Dominion. They have a lower win total. So let's hop over and talk about the Monarchs of Old Dominion and Ricky Ronnie's bunch and Norfolk, Virginia, because the win total is sitting at 3.5. And boy, did they get rated in the portal. The starting quarterbacks now at Western Michigan, starting running backs now at Memphis, starting wide receivers now at Virginia Tech. Two of their starting defensive linemen are now at Colorado. I mean, they
another one at Penn State.
Yeah.
An offensive lineman at UCLA, if I can keep on going a little bit.
Yeah, they did just get absolutely rated. But they brought in former Fordham offensive coordinator. If you watch FCS, subscribe to us last year. I was all over Tim Beck, firing the laser all over the field at Fordham.
And they also have Luke Kuechly on defense. I mean, Jason Henderson.
Yeah,
so.
Luke Kuechly. Yeah, Jason Henderson, stud.
Not only did they bring in the OC from Fordham, but they also brought the backup from Tim DeMorat, Grant Wilson, who apparently is going to be the quarterback. Which, look, I mean, you're a backup in FCS. That doesn't sound too good, but you were behind a really good quarterback. So
FCS playoff team too.
Yeah, I know, but there's a lot of questions. Let's just say there's a lot of questions.
The schedule is a bit wild because the non-con is at Virginia Tech, which they beat Virginia Tech a year ago.
But they've never beat Virginia Tech in Blacksburg.
True, and their elevators work. They had the elevators break on the Virginia Tech assistants.
Yeah, you can't coach your
break.
team.
That's always look. That's what I love. When you go play these group of fives, I think all these group of fives should start doing that shit. Elevators broken in all of them.
That's like
wait for them to get in it though. You got
old Alamo Dome hijinks.
Classic.
Our air conditioning doesn't work.
Classic play. So the non-con at Virginia Tech, then they have a home game against Wake Forest in week 3. Then they're home to Texas A&M Commerce, who just hired an arena football coach.
Nice.
Then November 11th matchup at the Flamin' Libs of Liberty. That's terrible. See, if you want to play Liberty, I think you want to play them in September. I think Chad will have them a lot better in November. I think they're going to be 1-3 in the non-con.
Now, ODU did whip Coastal Carolina, Jamie Chadwell's team, last year on the road 49-21. It was a bizarre. I mean, ODU only won 3 games: Virginia Tech, Arkansas State, and then somehow they whipped Coastal Carolina out of nowhere. So they've seen the offense before.
Dude, the Flamin' Lips packed that place. They ain't going in.
Oh, I
Stadium.
Completely agree. I think they beat A&M Commerce and honestly, that might be their only win on the whole freaking year.
Well, from the Sun Belt West, they draw Louisiana week 2, and then they draw at Southern Miss.
That is not favorable. There's some bad teams in the Sun Belt West, so they got 2 of the at least the top half of the division.
They're going to upset somebody else.
Sure. Okay.
I will take 2 wins on the Monarchs season.
They could upset 2 other people and still not hit the over. This is a slam dunk lock up under ODU under 3.5.
I will lock this one. I will lock this one. We're gonna lock up the Monarchs.
Let me find
4 wins there. Find them. Search hard, bro. I got the magnifying glass.
Give me Louisiana at home. Okay,
but week 2. Louisiana returns
in
everybody.
Norfolk.
You can tell he's really a Louisiana Monroe fan because he is throwing Lafayette under the bus.
What's the love? 6-6 in
top recruiting classes, Mister. But if he loves recruiting, he should know that Louisiana.
Look, you told me to look for a possible win.
Okay, give me 4. Find me 4.
Texas A&M Commerce. That's it. Maybe Georgia State at the end of the year.
They only won 3 games last year, and they lost 6 or 7 guys to Power 5 teams.
Lock it up. Wait. Lock up the
last year's wins were the Virginia Tech win at home, the Coastal win, and that was it. No, Arkansas State, which isn't on their schedule this year.
No.
Didn't Texas State beat App State last year, but lose to everyone?
Yeah.
The Sun Belt basement is a little closer to the Sun Belt ceiling than we realized.
Buddy,
folks.
lock it.
I'll lock it. Yeah, triple lock that.
There we go.
Crown them. That's what we're doing with the Monarchs. Shout out to Joshua Ray. Says, I love the show, fellas. Absolutely great job you guys do. Whether I'm listening to a football preview or a basketball preview, you always find a way to brighten my day. Hey, appreciate you, Joshua Ray.
We are in the bright days business.
What does John Lennon say? Something like I appreciate it.
Yes,
he said that right before
that
he
was
died.
his quote.
Right? No, but I appreciate it. I forget. There's a quote out there. The whiskey.
Now you're gonna have me looking this up.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a little more memorable than that. But
It's like there's probably a lot of John Lennon quotes, so don't quote all of those. Some of those go off a little deep end. We just hit that heroin era.
yeah.
It's a little weird. Anyway. Lock it up. And program trajectory. I was surprised Patty C put steady.
For ODU,
Yeah.
they just weren't that good before.
They won a national championship, 2 years ago?
That's true.
They did. It's their second now.
I mean,
they're going in the 30s also.
Their
They're going downhill.
last 5 seasons that they've actually played 5-7, 4-8, 1-11, and then Ricky Ronnie gets hired, national championship, then 6-7 and 3-9.
Great first year.
The only way their trajectory's up is if COVID comes back.
I just don't. I think
They're
they suck.
pushing that. They're pushing that.
Look, I don't even know if he had any yeah, they are.
They're pushing it hard.
I know.
Right?
Mask up, Patty C.
We're gonna have masks in the studio here, guys.
And we're not talking Arabian gas mask.
Oh.
All right.
Need some of that.
Folks, that's a lock.
Yeah.
Just hit that right now. Let's jump on over to the next.
Let me ask, do you
What's
think he can get
I think he's
recruiting?
fine.
Like,
I
you
think
think
he's-
it's done?
I do think they might give him next year, though, because it's tough to come in 2020.
Right.
Yeah.
They might give him until next
He
year.
needs to get some 7.57.
Well, he's also got to
stud
be more
talent.
active in the portal. We can't just
Yeah.
let everyone lead, and, everyone leave, and then just we
do
took
nothing.
Fordham's fucking quarterback,
Backup
You know what I mean?
quarterback.
Yeah, Hey, guys, get excited. Alumni, get excited. We brought in Fordham's backup quarterback. All right. So yeah, talk about that. But look, folks, we're gonna talk more about the Jason Henderson, most FBS tackles. Look at educated fan base we
All
have.
American, right? First
Ooh,
team
yeah.
All American
Stud.
at ODU.
Stud.
All-American son of a bitch.
How the hell did he not get stolen?
Yeah.
He's just like, you know what? He probably pulled a Slovis, stayed for his girlfriend.
Yeah,
Went there.
he's
'cause
probably
of
got a
girlfriend.
dime down there
Yeah.
in Norfolk.
Folks, look, the college football experience, Sun Belt 2023 season preview episodes brought to you by Parlay Play. Parlay Play is a great way to get down on a ton of your favorite parlay player props. Football season's right around the corner, and Parlay Play will have all your favorite props. Folks, I'm going to just quickly load this up real quick, but I'm going to give you a parlay in a second here because I love it. And I'm curious what my friends here think. But Parlay Play is available in a ton of different states, including Texas and California. Plus, our good friends up north in Canada, Parlay Play is available in a bunch of provinces. So if you're hanging out there in Newfoundland, you can, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? It's probably cold as shit. Just bet. Parlay, baby. Look, when you sign up with our code, you'll get a sweet little bonus to get you started. A parlay that I like for week 0, since we're so close to week 0. Hear me out on this, guys. The total on San Jose State USC is 63.5, right? I fucking love the over because guess what? I think San Jose State's offense is going to be able to move a little bit. I like what they have at QB, running back, wide receiver, even the tight end position. I think they can put up 28 on USC. So the question is, what the hell can USC put up, right? Give me the over on 63.5 because I expect USC to put up probably about 52, right? So that thing's going to destroy, right? Then let's parlay. Rich Rodriguez ain't losing the home opener against this UTEP Miners, all right? They are not. So that game's at a pick. First FBS game for Jacksonville State. Parlay that with the over in San Jose State and USC. And if you want to get even crazier after that, take the airport, Florida International plus 10.5 at La Tech. All right, talk to me later. Thank me later. All right, what do you guys think of that parlay?
You're high on the airport, but I like
10.5. I mean, come on. They beat
I like 2 legs. The only leg I'm questionable of is Jacksonville State. I think UTEP Jacksonville State. My mind hurts trying to think who's going to win that game.
Really?
At the end of the day, I'm going to side with you. I think Jacksonville State does, but by no means am I anywhere near confident enough to bet on it.
Well, NC Nick's big UTEP guy. You get some real estate in El Paso? What you do there? Anyway, that's my parlay that I'm giving away. Head on over to parlayplay.io. Use that promo code SGP for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's parlayplay.io. Promo code SGP. All right, we are back on the Sun Belt 2023 season preview. What's up, buddy?
Stat boy check here. Jason Henderson, third team All-American.
Third team All-American. They can't put a first team All-American if they're from Old Dominion because half the voters don't even know Old Dominion's in the FBS.
You know, by the way, guys, we might have to speed it up a little bit on some of these teams. I think we've gone through 3.
All right, let's run.
Just saying. I mean, I
Cal Stanford going to the ACC and all things went off the rails.
True.
Okay, jumping over to the next great university in the Sun Belt, and that is the Red Wolves of Arkansas State. No longer a dry county. They even have a bar at the stadium.
Oh man!
All right,
let's go.
Yeah, shout out to Jonesboro for turning that tide.
It's easy to see a tide turn.
Look, Butch Jones is always terrible. Should have never been a head coach in any capacity. He followed Brian Kelly everywhere he's been. Should have took the Notre Dame job. Should have found a way to get the Notre Dame job because people would still be convinced he's a good coach. I mean, guys, look, I know I want to do a deeper dive. I know they bring in JT Shrout, the Colorado Buffaloes former quarterback.
Let me push back on you that Butch Jones is a terrible coach here.
Okay, push back.
Central Michigan.
They followed Brian Kelly.
Sure, but 8-6, 8-5, 11-2. He left at 11-2. Okay. Cincinnati 4-8, 10-3.
Follow Brian Kelly.
9-3. Okay, but left at 9-3. Tennessee 5-7, 7-6, 9-4, 9-4, then 4-6. One bad year at Tennessee. I guess 2, but he built it in a positive direction.
Tennessee, you can get those fake wins. You know, it's like the GBO Farm wins.
Sure, but 2 top 25 finishes in his last 3 years.
Because you're beating Tennessee Tech by 30.
Arkansas State 2-10, 3-9 year 2. Maybe it's a little harder of a build than we're giving them credit for.
No, can you look at Arkansas State's history before Butch Jones, please?
Well, maybe
look at that history.
He has to get his guys in there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, JT Shrout's one of his guys,
and JT Shrout has a career below 50% completion percentage, 12 touchdowns to 11 picks.
Well, he didn't do that.
He's that good.
No, JT Shrout did do that.
No. But
okay.
He didn't do it under Butch Jones.
No, but I'm saying,
James Blackman was there last year. They didn't. Shit. I mean, I think they get worse at quarterback. Do we think James Blackman's better than JT Shrout? I do.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, then they lose their top rusher. They lose their top receiver. Our guy.
You get Corey Rucker back. They get Corey Rucker back.
Yeah.
Who went to South Carolina. Now he's jumping back.
But their line play on offense and defense is towards the bottom of the Sun Belt. I don't really like the roster he's putting together here, and I don't see how they can win 2 more games than last year.
Yeah. Patty C, what are you
Numbers
just playing
4.5
devil's
again?
advocate here? Or
I'm just, we like to shit on Butch Jones because of that haircut, and he's got the used car salesman vibe, and he's anti-Colby Dant because he's a recruiter and he doesn't have much X's and O's, which is like what
he's Cristobal. He's
Cristobal, who you hate, but that doesn't mean that
hate's a strong word. I just like to fade them. There's a difference.
Sure. Okay.
Look at their wins from last year. Grambling. Okay. Then they beat ULM at home and they beat UMass at home by 2. Now, there were some close losses. Only a 3-point loss at Texas State. Only a 1-point loss at Southern Miss. A 3-point loss at ODU. You win 1 more of those and you're at 4, pushing 5. But I don't know. Let's look at the schedule.
Well, yeah, let's talk about this non-con. Here. At Oklahoma to start the season. Loss, okay. Right, Patty C?
Nope. No, yeah.
Okay. Then you get the Battle of the Paint Bucket. Shout out to this rivalry. 45 minutes apart. Jonesboro to Memphis. What are you doing on Saturday, September 9th? Get your ass out to the Paint Bucket Bowl. All right. They're going to lose.
Yeah.
Memphis. So 0-2. Then the Seawolves of Stony Brook come in out of the Colonial Coastal Conference.
They only lost to Memphis by 12 last year on the road. And I get them at home. Rivalry game? Maybe? No. 0-2. Sorry.
Stony Brook, there's a win, right? We agree here. We're there. Stony Brook win. Then their other game is September 30th at the Minutemen of UMass. Look, if you barely beat UMass the first time, I think it's a 50-50 game. If you're at UMass this time, I do expect Don Brown's team to be better this year. I think it's a harder game. Like, I would favor Arkansas State, but like by what? I'm laying 2?
Yeah, if I'm initially thinking under, I want to be conservative and give it to them, even though it certainly isn't a slam dunk.
I'll give it to them. Let's go. 2.
The UMass game?
Yeah.
1-11 last year. You got to figure they'll get it done.
I mean, That was a close. They played last year, though. That was a close game, man. It's 35-33.
And they got to go to the McGurk.
They got to go to the McGurk. And Don Brown is just a fucking better coach than Butch Jones. I almost want to take UMass, but let's just say, let's play devil's advocate.
2 and 3. 2 and 3.
Yeah, 2 and 2 in the non-con.
Okay.
Their conference schedule. We'll break it up. Home to Southern Miss, at Troy. Then they get a bye. Home to Coastal, at ULM. They can only beat ULM here. I don't think they have a chance.
And I was already giving ULM that game, so I technically have them 0-4 there.
I think I did too. Yeah, I got them 0-4 too. Maybe 1-3. But even with that, that would be 3 and we're giving them both 50-50 games then of UMass and ULM. Then the Patty C, what do you have them at on that 4-game stretch?
Southern, maybe 1, but probably 0.
Yeah. And then the final 4 games of the season, home to Louisiana, at South Alabama, home to Texas State. That's winnable. And at Marshall. What was that win total? 4.5?
Under.
Wait, build me a case of 5 wins.
Okay, well, they beat Monroe by 17 last year, so let's give them a win there.
Okay, so hold on. Stony Brook, win.
UMass, win. Monroe, win. Texas State, win.
And you still need one more win.
And then they need to upset somebody.
You got to win every 50-50 game.
And an upset.
Stony Brook's 2 and 9. That's not a 50-50 game.
Okay, that's the only one.
UMass was 1 and 11, but the game
that's
is
a 50-50.
That's probably a 50-50
because that was Don Brown year 1.
Okay. Louisiana Monroe, they got to go on the road this year. That's probably a 50-50 game. And then
I'm on the under.
Sun Belt,
I'll lock this up. Actually.
I'm locking it too. And the great thing about the unders, it's actually plus 100. You know, whereas like Texas State was also at 4.5, but it was minus 175 on the under. So if I'm looking at both those, I like Arkansas State on the under a lot better.
Guess
Lock
what,
it up.
guys? Guess what?
Yep.
I got a wild hair up my ass that Butch Jones has something up his sleeve, and this team is cashing the over.
Patty C loves a good recruiter.
But he put his trajectory is down on the sheet. I'm a little bit confused.
Well,
here.
I mean, who was it before? Gary Anderson.
Blake Anderson.
Or Blake Anderson, yeah, had him 7-6.
Every
9-4,
coach had him
5, 7. Yeah. So as a whole, the program is moving down. I think he's a 6-6 kind of coach at Arkansas State, I think.
I will lock it up. NC Nick locking up the Red Wolves on the under 4.5. I think UMass could beat them too, to tell you the truth.
I feel really good about these 2 unders I've locked up so far.
I'll lock it up all day. Feel good about it. The Bash Brothers back at it. I'm McGuire. He's Canseco. I'll lie to you to your face. All right. Canseco's got car washes all over Vegas, so he'll sign your autograph. Next up, we hop on over to Southern Miss. Oh, man, I can tell you this. I see Southern Miss at 5, and the first reaction I want to say is lock because I believe in – I heard Will Hall speak about his team this year. He goes, finally, we have the depth that we had. It's almost like Mike Houston. He reminds me of Mike Houston in a way because Houston, it took him the 3rd year of saying, like, now we have the depth on the line of scrimmage to get where we're at. And Will Hall's a Willie Fritz guy. You know, I'm a Willie Fritz guy. So blindly, I want to say, give me the fucking – I know we're going to dive into the schedule, but Frank Gore Jr.'s back. Southern Miss has a real home field to me in this conference.
Yeah.
I know we talked about this a week or 2 ago, and the line hasn't moved at all, and we were both surprised to see 5. You know, I mean, they went 6-6 and then won a bowl game last year. So in order to lose this bet, you would have to lose 2, or win 2 fewer games. I don't see where this doesn't make any sense.
They returned 9 offensive starters, so it's like this makes 0 sense to me.
And 6 on defense isn't too bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not like you only bring back 3 guys or something. So no, it's not making much sense to me whatsoever. Let's look at their schedule. Maybe their schedule is a bear.
The non-con, home to Alcorn State, win.
Yeah.
Yes.
So 1-0. Then they head to.
Although Alcorn State have they been
they've been all right. They've been all right.
Yeah.
But still, I would say Southern Miss.
I love the grits and butter flavor.
Yeah, love that
grits
matchup.
and gravy.
A little in-state Mississippi mud.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Noah Beanick in the chat saying this smells like Courtney Love, but why would they put a trap on a Sun Belt team's win total? That's fair. That's fair. But I can tell you this. To continue on the non-con, they're at Florida State, but Florida State plays LSU the week before. If Florida State is somehow, let's say they beat LSU, even though I have LSU winning that game, and I feel very good about that, especially with the Darrell Jackson news. I think it's a dangerous game for Florida State if they beat LSU. Now, if they lose to LSU, Florida State will probably focus, take down Southern Miss. If they win, though, it becomes a dangerous game. Let's say 1-1, right? Nick, you with me?
Oh, yeah, I'm with you.
Patty C?
Yeah, I'll roll with you.
And then they're home to Tulane. And by the way, folks, they beat Tulane a year ago.
On the road.
Yeah, now they got to come to the Rock.
But again, like if I'm initially thinking over, I like to be conservative, and I'll give that a loss.
Yes. You give them a loss to a team that won the Cotton Bowl over USC.
They did beat them last year.
I don't care.
But you can't say it like definitively.
I know.
Especially knowing that he coached with Willie Fritz for like 10
Sure,
years.
I get it. But like
Tajay Spears is on the
who
Tennessee
else pulled
Titans,
an
I
upset
believe.
last year, you know? And would you bet on one of the bigger upsets in college football again happening 2 years in a row? No.
Yeah, especially when the guy coached with them for a long time, I would.
We said we're giving them the L, but it's not.
I mean, my point is you gave it to them begrudgingly. That should be a solid L.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, semantics.
Have you ever, because Tulane doesn't really pack a crowd like Southern Miss.
Fair. I'm not saying it's not going to be
And
lit.
they got that Brett Favre blood money.
Look, Grits
Fuck.
football is
Yeah.
fucking great.
All right, I'll even join you on 1 and 2, even though I think that's a very winnable game.
What did Alcorn State do last year, by the way?
They're like 7-4, I think. Right?
Be sure that that's even a win. 5 and 6, that is a win.
Okay. So 1 and 2, and the other non-con game comes November 18th, and thank God this is back on the schedule. Shout out to Coach Leach. I think he might have been the one saying, let's do this, guys. All right. Rest in peace to our friend Coach Leach, because at Mississippi State, holy shit, this is fantastic. Because that's right before the Egg Bowl. Talk about a situational spot you want to be playing your rival.
And it would not surprise me if Southern Miss pulls off an upset in one of those.
That's what I'm saying. Between Tulane and Mississippi State, they can get one.
I'll still be conservative and say 1 and 3.
Devil's advocate. Let's say 1 and 3, even though I think they're going to be 2 and 2, right? The conference play starts off at Arkansas State. That's a win, right?
That is a win.
That's win 2. Home to Texas State. That's win 3. Home for homecoming to Old Dominion. That's
ding,
win
ding,
4.
ding. So Southern Miss is one of the teams from the West that plays ODU.
Boom. Oh, yeah, I didn't mention that. Then they get a bye week. They're at South Alabama, right? Remember, they lost a 1-score game to South Alabama a year ago, right?
Yeah.
So, but they're at South Alabama. They're a good team. Then the back-to-back away at the other Rock at Appalachian State. I love that fucking game on the schedule. Those two teams remind me of each other.
South Alabama and App State?
No, Southern Miss.
Southern Miss and
App State.
Well, they look the same kind of.
It's just their style. They're like fearless. They go play all these fucking teams. They run the ball. There's physical football teams. Look, they probably go 0-2 there. They probably go 0-2, but I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they win one of those two. Nick, would you?
No, not at all. But again, let's go conservative. So right now we have them at 4 and 6. No, I'm sorry, 4 and 4, right?
Yeah, 4 and 4, and then they're home to you.
I'm gonna say,
yeah,
App State and Georgia Southern and Southern Miss are homoasexual. I just wanted to crowbar that one in.
Folks.
That is not gaining any traction, Patty.
Yeah. Give Patty C a follow at Patty C.
Homoasexual.
Yeah.
It's so hard
they're
to
home
say.
to ULM. They're
Hard
home
to
to
hear.
ULM.
Yeah.
Look, November 4th, you fucking maniacs. They're home to ULM.
There's
right?
your 5th. There's your at
There's
least
your
your push.
And how about this? The next week, nationally televised at Louisiana. I favor Southern Miss at Louisiana. Patty C, you've been shitting on Louisiana the whole episode. There's no
I
way.
do too. I
Yeah,
think it's a good
that's what I'm
game
saying.
because it's on the road.
And I think
that's a coin flip.
I think they could potentially get Troy at home also.
I do
So
too.
Ugh.
Dude,
I mean-
there's like, besides the Florida State game, I don't think there's any game on the schedule that's not winnable. Now, obviously, I would favor
Yeah.
App State and South Alabama, but I think they can win. Like, I mean, they were in a lot of these games a year ago, and they're building this program. They're building this program.
I think you have a very safe floor of 5 wins here. There's no way they're only winning 4. If they only win 4, that means they're upset by ULM, ODU, Texas State, or Arkansas State, and they don't beat anybody else where it's close and they could. So I'm gonna lock up the over. I think it's the easiest plus
Dude,
100.
We're agreeing too much here.
Well, look at this. Arkansas State, they only beat by 1 at home last year. Now they got to go on the road. That could be an L by the logic we've been applying.
Sure.
So,
but also one of the things that's been amazing about Southern Miss and them making a bowl last year is they did it with like 37 different quarterbacks. If they don't have injuries, they had Frank Gore starting quarterback at and they still were winning games.
They're definitely getting better, which brings us to, well, I guess we got to give our over.
This is
under.
a lock. This is a
over lock. Patty, what are you doing?
No, I'm not locking this. I'm not. I think it's almost certain that they get exactly 5. As a matter of fact, I think Vegas is.
I think they can.
They're going to beat Alcorn State. They're going to beat Texas State. They're going to beat Arkansas State. They're going to beat Old Dominion, and they're going to beat Louisiana Monroe. They're going to lose to Florida State, Tulane, South Alabama on the road, App State on the road.
But you can't say that definitively.
Mississippi State on the road, and Troy, who was 12-2.
Hold on. So you're saying that it's almost certain that they get to 5. So at worst case scenario, you push. Would you just don't want your money tied up for 3 months?
Well, it's as likely that they go under as over is what I'm saying. It being 5, a flat 5.
This is by far the best team Will Hall has had in his 3 years.
I actually think it's slightly higher, that slightly more likely that they go over. So I am on the over. I'm with you guys.
Okay, we're locking this up though. You locking it up? No. Okay, me and NC Nick are locking it up. Bash
grow a pair, Patty.
Yeah.
You know, I don't give into peer pressure. That is me growing a pair.
Talk to me after your next beer.
True.
All right. Look, I know we're running a little long on side A here, but we got to jump over and talk about what do we have? We're 5 deep. So let's go with next up. The final team on side A is the Georgia State Panthers. Georgia State Panthers. Shawn, Elliott, critical year for him. No, I'm not talking about the guy for the Spurs that needed a kidney. I'm talking about Shawn, Elliott, the head coach of the Georgia State Panthers. I like Shawn Elliott. I really do. I hope I'm wrong. And I know we got to dive into them. But my first thought is he's kind of lost traction for a little bit. Remember they won at Tennessee, the game that probably got Jeremy Pruitt fired. He's paying all these players, and Georgia State comes in and beats the piss out of them.
They should have beat Auburn.
They should have beat Auburn. Dude, he's a good coach. It's sad to see, but it feels like he's lost his best players. I feel like again in the portal.
I mean, he's 8-5 2 years ago. He
I
just
know.
had a bad year.
I feel like he's a good coach.
Well, I mean, overall, he's 34-38, and he's 23-25 in conference. Know, when you're entering year 7, that's not going to cut it. You got to start winning more.
Everyone's been speculating.
Your program is like 10 years old. You shouldn't have.
I'm just telling you, like
above 500
expectations is that they're in Atlanta.
You're in Atlanta.
They should be the best team in the Sun Belt based on location. I don't know. That's just the expectation. And so
now I will say they lost 5 games by 1 score last year.
But they
they went 4-8 last year.
But they also lost some big time players in the portal.
Yeah.
So they
lost some guys to graduation, like their 2 running backs, Tucker Gregg and Jameis Williams.
Yeah, now they're counting on Marcus Carroll to be their guy at the running back spot. Darren Grainger is back. He is very good. That's good. They have a new defensive coordinator in Chad Staggs, who was the old Coastal Carolina defensive coordinator under Jamie Chadwell. Man, let's talk about the non-con, because they play a very dangerous FCS team. A team that should have been in the FCS playoffs. They got robbed a little bit. The Rhode Island Rams with Kasim Hill in his 35th year of college football, the former Maryland starting quarterback. That's a dangerous Thursday night game. Some people have Rhode Island projected to win the CAA.
7-4 last year.
Yeah. They're good. They're good, man. I will give it to Georgia State still, but
yeah,
I'm a little nervous. Patty?
Yeah. Rhode Island only lost to Pitt by 21 last year, and Pitt was pretty
damn good, yeah.
I am going to give it to Georgia State as well in Atlanta. Long trip.
Yeah. Agreed.
Then they're home to Jim Moore and UConn. This, to me, I favor UConn, guys. I don't know about you guys. Do you favor Georgia State? Do you favor UConn? What do you guys do here?
Again, another Northeast team coming down. I do favor UConn.
If we can group it into,
let's do it, of course.
It's Rhode Island, UConn, at Charlotte, at LSU. I think they can go 2-2 in that stretch. The out of conference games.
They can split.
They better go 2-2.
They also could go 0-4.
Oh, come on. They're not that bad.
Just saying, Biff Poggi was a little more confident than I thought he would be.
They could also be 3-1.
They could.
Look, in years past, Georgia State has had a hell of an out-of-conference schedule. Last year, they played South Carolina, North Carolina, Charlotte, and Army. The year before that, it was North Carolina and Auburn. So usually it's 2 Power Fives. It's easier this year. I think they go 2-2 out of conference.
I am with you.
I'll go 2-2 in the non-con as well. Conference play at Coastal Carolina on a Thursday night. They've never lost at Coastal Carolina. That game scares me. I would favor Coastal.
Yeah, it's interesting because Coastal's never lost at Georgia State, so the road team has won every time. It's very bizarre.
I guess. I mean, I want to favor Coastal.
I'm gonna go Coastal.
Yeah. Patty,
Buck that trend.
Yeah.
Then they're home to Troy. I think that's a loss. So I got them 0-2 to start, and then they get a bye before they host Marshall, and then they're at Louisiana. Ouch, man! 4 bowl teams.
Yeah. So from the West, you get Troy at home and at Louisiana. Not
they're going to get one of those. They're going to get one of those. 1-3.
1 to 2 of those, but I'll say 1 and 3 as well.
Okay.
That would put us at 3 wins. Then the second run here is in conference. This is at Georgia Southern. Home to JMU, home to App, and at Old Dominion, and they might not have their coach for Old Dominion. He might be fired by then.
Yeah.
I say 1 at best. I am on the under.
Agreed.
Shout out to Alfred44 goes, I think Georgia State has a rough time this year.
In that 8-game stretch, I'm not going to have them go 1 and 3 in both of those 4-game stretches. So in that 8-game stretch, I think 3 and 8. We had them 2 and 2 in the first 4. So I think I have them at 5.
Wins 6 though.
Yeah, I think.
Last year they were 4 and 8, and it looks like best case scenario they win 5 this year maybe, and that's probably not going to do it. So if you get off on the wrong foot here, I mean, he could be fired before November hits.
I'm not gonna lock this, even though I feel decent about it, because I think he's a good coach, and they got up and beat Tennessee. Sometimes they can beat teams that you're not expecting. So I will not lock it. Although I think it's a decent play on the under.
I agree.
You guys both think he's this program's trending downwards.
Yeah,
of course.
Losing a little steam.
Yeah.
He needs a rebound year. I say they're standing still here, but a nice year would go a long way to making things look better. Obviously.
There we go. We are all on the under with the Georgia State Panthers, and this concludes the A side of the college football experience. All right, we are back on the college football experience B-side Sun Belt 2023 season preview and picks. And in the chat, ACC presidents did not vote on Stanford and Cal joining the conference. Many include, so big-time roadblocks going out to Berkeley to drop acid.
So hold on. So he said there just wasn't a vote. It wasn't shot down.
Oh, okay.
Right? Am I reading that way?
Noah, let us know, because Pete Dan was reporting that there were significant roadblocks. And
no shit. They're 3,000 miles away.
Welcome to – that's why go back to San Diego State's plan. I really think college football wins if we can keep the Sun Belt together, right? And the Mountain West, Pac-12, and the top of the AAC all come together.
All right, guys, we don't have time for this again. Focus on Sun Belt here. This is a
Sun
Belt podcast, damn it.
Buddy, we got to talk about this.
We got a live news ticker here.
Okay. Now jump on over to the good Georgia Southern. Shout out to our friend Clay. Georgia Southern, Clay Helton. 6 wins is what we're saying here in Vegas. They won, 6 a year ago? They were a hard team to understand a year ago. They would beat certain teams, and you'd say, they won at Nebraska, and you're saying, hey, Georgia Southern's pretty good.
Even more impressive, they beat JMU.
And then they're also just they lost to Buffalo. You know what I mean? They were just a weird team, a hard team to understand.
They didn't lose to anybody bad. I mean, their worst loss was at Georgia State.
Or Buffalo.
Well, Buffalo's a bowl game, so I mean, whatever.
Hell, I was expecting them to put it on Buffalo.
Kyle Van Treese didn't want to beat his old team.
Sympathy play. Look, 6 let's get into this. Davis Brin comes in at the quarterback spot. They also brought in J.C. French from Memphis. Also, Bo Allen from the FCS, formerly of Kentucky. They got Anthony Quealy coming in from Syracuse. So they went out and were very active in the portal. They returned Caleb Hood, who was second team Sun Belt a season ago.
Maybe the best group of receivers in the conference.
But can we trust Clay Helton, who was like the most penalized? When he was at USC was the most penalized team every fucking year. It was like you can guarantee. And I always had issues with that. The non-con, home to the Citadel. Citadel can't run the triple option anymore because these stupid fucking rules. That's a win, but please, Citadel, please. Want to know? We all agree, right?
Yeah.
Home to Trent Dilfer and UAB, and I have no UAB smacked him a year ago, but I have no fucking idea what to expect of UAB. It's winnable. This is winnable.
Yeah, I think they get this one. I think if you're looking at all 4 out of conference games, you follow this up with at Wisconsin, at Ball State back to back. I say 2-2 to be conservative. I think that's fair. They could be 3-1.
Yeah, I say
They
2.
could be 1-3.
UAB and then losing at Ball State.
They almost lost to Ball State in Statesboro last year. It was like I think a one-score game.
34-23.
Okay, but that was a close game.
What you got? 3
Ball State has potential to beat them. No, I have them losing to UAB and beating Ball State.
Okay, well
either one.
2-2. Conference play starts off home to Coastal Carolina. They get a bye week at JMU. Home to ULM.
Guys, this is genius here. ULM and Texas State from the West.
That is
true.
nice.
But hold on. Home to ULM, home to Georgia State on a Thursday. That's the first pod of Sun Belt games.
2-2.
Yeah, I'll join you. 2-2. So that puts them at 4.
Maybe 2-2. Okay.
Then the second pod within the conference at Texas State, at Marshall, home to Old Dominion, at Appalachian State. I think 2-2.
2-2. 6-6.
6 is the number.
Right where the line's at.
I will lean towards the under.
I'm going to lean over because they get Coastal at home.
They got Davis Brin. Davis Brin's not a winner. All right.
I'm going to lean over also. I mean, I think this offense can be really good. Now, the defense was worse in the Sun Belt last year, and they only bring 4 back. The defense is going to be pretty damn bad, but I think there's enough offensive fireworks to lean over.
Patty C, over, under?
Davis Brin last year.
He bothers me.
17 touchdowns.
He doesn't make the plays to win the game.
I mean, those aren't like phenomenal stats, but you're throwing the ball around. That's kind of what he does. You know, maybe he's a smart guy. He's certainly not an athlete. We've seen that sliding at the 1-yard line to beat Cincinnati and ruin their.
I can't have faith in that.
I thought I already heard Patty C say over. No,
I am saying over. What I'm saying is he's not an athlete, but I think in that Georgia Southern like little rinky-dink Peyton Manning offense, you know, where they make a million adjustments at the line of scrimmage, he'll be capable of running that. So I think that'll work for them, and I think they get over 6.
We put their trajectory at.
You stole that word from Noel from last week.
Trajectory. As steady, all 3 of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a pretty good first year from Helton.
It was better than what we all thought.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
I'm not ready to say it's going up, but he's doing a solid job at least so far. So, you know.
Yeah. If we can count on one thing from Clay Helton, it's an up year and a down year. And overall.
Why do you think I'm on the under, buddy?
A level program. That's true.
All right, let's hop on over to the next team we have here, win total wise, which is the likes of the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns. Good old Mike Desormeaux, aka Michael Desormeaux, something shit like that. But
Desormeaux.
Yeah,
close enough.
I can't do all those Cajun names. They're all tough. All right, especially after a couple whiskeys, you're just like, please.
Yeah. The French are, snobs. Use the King's English on this podcast. Yeah.
Guys, what do you make of these Ragin Cajuns and Patty C's racism? All right. No, it's not racism. That's
I have no idea what we're talking about.
We're talking about the Ragin Cajuns right now.
Okay.
Obviously, Michael Desormeaux. I was so shocked that he didn't hit the portal more because they kind of got raided in the portal again. But Ben Wooldridge, no relation to Orlando, Patty C. He's back. They also have Chandler Fields, so they have 2 decent quarterbacks. Peter LeBlanc is back Back to your friend's reference, Patty C.
Joey.
Guys, I have a lot of question marks with this team. Mainly the fact that they only return 9 starters as a collective from the offense and the defensive side of the ball. And even with that, it's being a little generous because some of those guys have started previous years. I first thought want to lean over or under. I'm sorry. NC Nick, what's your analysis of the Ragin Cajuns?
Yeah, we did the preview a while ago, maybe a month ago, and I think the overall talent level is taking a big dip here. The previous coach was obviously recruiting his ass off. I think he had 2 or 3 number 1 recruiting classes back to back, in the Sun Belt for Louisiana. Since Desormeaux took over, it's been 10th in the conference and 6th in the conference. So recruiting is dipping. He's not addressing needs in the portal. And a lot of that older talent base that Napier brought in, a lot of them have transferred out or left early, like the running back Chris Smith. So I think talent is a problem here. So originally I'm thinking maybe under. How many games do they win last year?
How much of 3
6.
straight number 1 recruiting classes in the conference could have left? It sounds like that talent should be maturing and they should be stocked for talent right now.
Well, maybe that's why he didn't go out in the portal. I don't know. Maybe they do get Old Dominion from the other side of the conference. They get Georgia State and Old Dominion, which I think is what you want to get. If you had to draw up a blueprint.
Yep.
Let's get into it. The non-con is home to Northwestern State, the Demons. Then at UAB and Trent Dilfer, a mystery team, home to Buffalo, and then at Minnesota. You know what's crazy? I think they could go 3-1 there. They also could go 1-3, but
I'm going to split the difference and say 2-2. I have them losing at UAB. I don't feel good about that because we have no idea what UAB is going to look like.
That's like the Dion hire. It's like the AAC's version of the Dion hire.
Yeah. I'm going to say 2-2.
I'll join you. 2-2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll roll with you.
In conference, they're at ODU on September 9th.
The other team from the West that gets ODU.
Yeah. So that's a third win for me.
Yep.
So at Old Dominion, home to Texas State, bye week, then home to Georgia State. That's, to me, I think they could win all 3 of those.
Yeah, that's 5.
Then they're at South Alabama, so that would be 5 wins right there.
Yeah.
Then the final pod is at Arkansas State, home to Southern Miss on a Thursday night, at Troy and home to ULM.
2-2.
That's
maybe
7.
Maybe 3-1, depending on if they're better. Thursday night at home against Southern Miss. The number is what?
What's it? What's the number?
6.5.
6.5. So that Thursday night against Southern Miss is kind of
Vegas nailed this one. I think I just went through and said over, even though I don't feel good about that. I think I leaned under.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Actually, I think I recall you going over on our preview podcast, and I went under. I'm going to stick to my guns and say under, even though I can see an easy path for them to get to 7. But the other thing too, like, do you really feel good with 7 betting minus 165? No. I'm going to go under plus 135. Certainly not going to lock it up. This one and the Georgia Southern one are the 2 ones I feel least good about in the whole conference.
I'll take the over, but I don't touch this one. Trajectory though going down.
Patty C might be on the over.
I am on the over. Ben Woolridge though, what's his deal as the quarterback?
He tore his ACL last year, so there's no guarantee he's going to be ready week 1.
That is a concern.
They have the other guy though that started Fields.
Yeah, Fields.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I do lean over. I think basically it looks like a 7-win slate to me because Northwestern State, they were 4-7 at the FCS level. That's a win. ODU sucks, even though it's on the road. That's a little bit of a trip. And then I think Buffalo at home, that's another 50-50 game that is at home. So between that and the Southern Miss, they can get to 8. They can get to 8. Obviously, if the number is 6.5, that's not super out of the question, but I'm leaning 7-5 here. So I got the over.
I think I lean 7-5 too. I don't feel good about this one though. Do not bet this one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. Now we jump over to the the App State Mountaineers. Appalachian State Mountaineers. Wow. 6.5.
Come on.
I mean, I'm
just going to
start off with a lock. All right, because
we need new lock. We need new triple lock music. Give us some.
Yeah, we will all lock up here. We will all lock up the Appalachian State Mountaineers without even diving in.
Well, if you dive into last year, they won They had 6 wins only, which was the worst year in App State's in like 20 years or something. And 2 of those wins were against FCS teams. But 5 of their 6 losses were by 1 score.
That's what I was about to say.
Vegas has a short memory apparently when it comes to App State.
And in before that 6-win season, they won 10, 8, 11, 10, 8. I mean, App State is not used to just winning 6 games a year.
They were very close to being like a 10 or 11 win team. I mean, they blow like a 21-point lead against JMU.
Oh, I was there in person.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The Texas State blemish, I have no answer for. But like at Coastal, they lose by 7. Marshall, they lose by 7. Georgia Southern beats them in double overtime, and that's your season.
Yeah.
The North Carolina game, they have the guy wide open on a 2-point conversion to win the game.
Yeah,
it was a crazy season. Now, of course, they beat Troy on a Hail Mary. Yeah, they barely beat A&M too. So
they slapped the crap out of A&M. I don't think that was an illegitimate win.
Yeah, 17-14 is misleading. I felt like they owned that whole game against Texas.
Yeah, but obviously the game is still in jeopardy down to the wire.
True, but I also think A&M didn't
App
State
A&M closed that gap late.
No, I think App State could have scored a touchdown, but the running back laid down. Right? I thought he broke.
You might be right. Yeah,
they could have. They could have went up 24-14, but they, I mean, this is a slam dunk. Even though I know they get hit, with, obviously Chase Bryce is in the Canadian Football League, so losing your star quarterback that seemed like it'd been there forever, that hurts. But no, I just trust the culture here. I think they were a much better team a year ago, and sometimes every once in a while you do get a year where the bounces go against you. Even though they had the Hail Mary game, but
which was a bounce also.
I also know Ryan Berger has an NIL deal with a local burger joint for the Ryan Berger joint.
Nice.
Nate Noel is back. He's a fucking stud. I like the wideouts. I like the offensive line. I like the defense. I think the defense is going to be a lot better. I know they only returned 4 on the defensive side of the ball. Now I am a little bit scared of the non-con.
Well, I mean, week 3 is an easy win, so chalk that up.
Just real quick, we don't need to dwell on it for too long, but it's fun. App State, 22 first downs to A&M's 9. Wow. Possession 41-18. Yards, 315 to 180.
Yeah. Let's talk about this non-con because, guys, Gardner Webb is good. Playing Gardner Webb in week 1. Go look at what Gardner Webb did. They lost at Liberty by a point a year ago. They kept it within 4, I think, with Coastal Carolina. They did lose by 21 to Marshall, but in the fourth quarter, it was 14-7. Watch out for Gardner Webb. Then they head to Chapel Hill. Then they take on
that blaring tonight.
Coming a little hot. But that's what happens when they play that song.
Somebody's excited for the season.
Definitely. And then they're at Laramie. Guys, they're going to go. I got them 2-2, but I think they could be 1-3.
What?
No, they're 2-2. They're going to win one of those. I mean, come on.
Dude, no one wins at Wyoming. Have you ever looked into that?
Not as closely as I probably should.
It's the highest elevation in the country.
But you're the Mountaineers. You shouldn't be a scared. I mean, the Rockies and the Appalachians are slightly different, but still.
Yeah. Sorry, 3802. But, we get excited here on the college football experience.
I'm saying 2-2 at worst.
Really? I could see 1-3. And I definitely think I'll go 2-2. They get Gardner Webb. They get UNC.
Wow.
They get Gardner Webb. They get ECU.
No, UNC is too soft.
I mean, they could go 4-0. Let's be honest.
They could go 4-0. But, I mean, they can't really beat ECU. So,
not like they did 2 years ago in Charlotte.
That's Charlotte NFL corporate game. You know what I mean? Get at your home stadium where these ECU fans could come there and get and enjoy some adult beverages, In conference, they start out at ULM. This is a back-to-back away. That is a little tricky. True. I know we just penciled in ULM losing that game,
But
going
it is
from fucking
beneficial.
Laramie to Monroe, Louisiana is pretty different.
But it's good to get ULM from the West. So I think you take it.
True. Okay. So we give them that. That's their third win. They get a bye week, then they're home to Coastal. Coastal's never won
On a Tuesday night.
Yeah. College Football Campus Tour, I think, is going to be at this game.
Beautiful.
Coastal's never won at the Rock. Yeah. So I got them at 4 wins there. Then they're at Old Dominion. That's 5 wins.
How confident are we in this Ryan Berger fella? A redshirt freshman taking over the helm. I mean,
it's a question mark.
They do run the ball well, but that's kind of an important position there.
Apparently, he's more of a dual threat guy. A little bit more wheels than Chase Bryce had.
Okay.
So he's kind of more like the guy before Chase Bryce. Oh, geez. What was his name?
Lamb.
No. Not that old.
Really?
Yeah, Lamb was a few years ago. Hold on. Let me pull it up because that's going to really bother me. Zach Thomas.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Hold on. So at ULM, home to Coastal, at ODU, home to Ole Miss. I think this should go 4-0, actually.
So I think they're going to drop one of the games, either Southern Miss or Marshall at home.
Oh, Marshall doesn't count in that run.
Yeah, ULM.
I know. Okay.
Okay.
But I'm grouping the 2 home games together.
So you're grouping a group that's when we're already grouping.
I'm sorry. Okay, fine. I agree. They are 3-1.
What?
Or 4-0.
I'm going to give them 3-1.
Happening on
I'm
going
to say 3-1 because of the youngster quarterback. Maybe he screws one up. They screwed a few up last year. So.
I got them 4-0. Then they're home to Marshall. Now that is losable.
Okay.
At Georgia State, at JMU, home to Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern ain't winning at the Rock on
They're
November
1-3 in that stretch.
I think 2-2.
Maybe 2-2.
So 2 plus 4, 6.
I'm going to say 3-1 in that stretch.
I'm locking the over here.
I'm with
They
you.
are winning more.
2, 3, and 2. So I got them at 7. The number is
6.5.
6.5. Okay.
I got him at 9.
Yeah, I think 8 or 9 is more likely. I will lock that up. How do you see?
Play the music.
6.5. You got to lock that.
We are locking up the Mountaineers of Appalachian State.
I have my concerns, but on history alone.
They can beat anybody on their schedule, not name East Carolina. All right?
Well, James.
Let's go.
Proved last year that even with a 21-point lead, they couldn't beat JMU at home.
Wow.
Just
okay, let's get over now and talk about that Thundering Herd everyone's talking about. Charles Huff, and he'll puff, and he'll blow your fucking house down if he goes to South Bend, Indiana. Guys, Marshall, I kind of was surprised it was this low. NC Nick, were you surprised it was at 7?
Yeah, my first reaction was over. They won 8 last year, and that included a kind of a bizarre loss to Bowling Green in overtime.
Yeah, because they beat Notre Dame the week before, and
so they were
ass off
right.
West Virginia. Let's talk about this schedule. I know Henry Columbi is gone, but he was injured. He got kind of benched towards the second half of the season anyway. The schedule, non-con wise, they get the Albany Great Danes. Now, Albany does have a week 0. Little advantage for old Reese Poffenberger.
They were 3-8 last year.
Albany could be a sneaky team. 1-0, right?
Yeah.
Rasheen Ali gonna run right through that defense.
Yeah.
Then they head to the FIC, get rowdy at the Dowdy. They ain't winning this one on Saturday, September 9th. So 1-1. I think I speak for
2-0.
No.
2-0.
They didn't play ECU last year.
Do you remember what happened a couple years ago when we came up to Huntington, West Virginia?
Nope.
Do a little history, my friend. Do a little history. There's no way they're winning.
This one is actually a really hard game to pick because I think Marshall is slightly better.
Yeah.
But I think ECU, if Mike Houston does what he does and improves the defensive line, like you said, and Marshall's strength is running into that, a movable object, irresistible.
It's all about the home field.
I'm going to agree with you. 1-1.
1-1. And then they get a bye week. And then they're hosting Virginia Tech at the Joan. That's a win.
Agreed.
If I'm giving them a loss to Tech or to ECU, then I'm going to give them a win against Tech.
They beat Virginia Tech. The city's going to burn down after this game. I got them 2-1. Patty C 2-1. NC Nick 3-0. Then they're home to ODU.
4-0.
4-0 for NC Nick. 3-1 for me. Then they head to Carter Finley. Check out this Brennan Armstrong guy.
That'd be a good game.
That is
3 of the next 4 are on the road. They're October games. They're on the road in October a lot.
They're going to lose at NC State probably, so I will say 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
Patty?
Yep.
At Georgia State, Center Park Stadium, where Dale Murphy used to hit dingers. That will be a win. I think that's a win.
Yes.
I'm gonna have them losing both those. Actually, I think they lose the first road game and then the back-to-back at Georgia State also.
Get some. So we all got them at 4-2 though.
Yeah, and then on a Thursday night, JMU, who got the tar beaten out of them by the Thunder and Herd a year ago.
Yeah, you might have heard of our offensive player of the year, conference offensive player, not being healthy for that game.
Is he going to be in this game? No, he's in the XFL.
Point.
All right, and now you got to go to the Joan on a Thursday. This place is going to burn down again.
Yeah,
all right,
I'll actually give this one to Marshall.
I got Marshall winning this again. So what? That puts us at what 2? So I had him 2.
We had them 4-2, so 5-2.
5-2. Nick, what are you doing here at the JMU game?
Marshall gets it at home.
Yeah. Then they are for Halloween weekend. They head to Brooks Stadium where Hooters gets wild. I think they're better than Coastal Carolina. I'm going to give this a win to Marshall.
Yeah, same thing. I have them at 6-2 right now.
Oh, that's 2 straight losses that I'm about to hand them right here. Yeah.
Coastal's bringing in a new coach.
But Grayson's back, 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Returns for year number 4.
They can build him a statue, but they lose this game. At App State on November 4th, though, loss, correct?
Correct.
Home to Georgia Southern. That air raid shit ain't going to fly at the Joan on November 11th. It's going to be snowing. Give me Marshall to win that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Then they're at Hancock Whitney Stadium. That's a loss.
Didn't play them last year. This is going to be a slugfest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think South Alabama's a little better.
Home to Arkansas State. That's a win. So I got them with what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins.
I got them at 8-4 as well.
I got them at 7-5, but I'm leaning over.
Over. Let's do it.
Let's go.
And you got to say trajectory's pointing upward as long as that coach doesn't leave.
Yeah, well, Charles Huff and Patty C saying no, steady, hold steady.
I'm steady just because Doc Holliday had been doing so well that, the program was
back to Bob Pruitt.
Yeah, it was above where it was when Huff, his first couple years here. So I think Huff is getting it back to where it was, but overall, it's at a steady level, which is pretty damn high, though.
Interesting.
Marshall, a better program than most people probably recognize.
For sure. All right, look, folks, before we get to the next one, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Parlay Play. Parlay Play is a great way to get down on your favorite parlayed player props. Football season is right around the corner, and Parlay Play will have all of your favorite player props. Look, it's available in a ton of different states, California and Texas, plus our friends in Canada can play. It's available in a bunch of different provinces. A parlay play I like, I already mentioned this on the A side, but the over in the USC San Jose State game, Jacksonville State to beat UTEP at a pick, and Florida International +10 in Ruston, Louisiana, all for week 0. So hop on over there. Let's have some fun. Head on over to parlayplay.io. Use that promo code SGP for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Once again, that's parlayplay.io, promo code SGP. All right, we are back on the Sun Belt 2023 season preview episode. And now we move along to the Coastal Carolina. 7.5 wins is the win total for Big Bird, a.k.a. Grayson McCall. Tim Beck comes in, and I was not the biggest Tim Beck fan coming from NC State. All right, I was not super excited about the old Tim Beck being hired.
Although they've been a decent program over there. So,
but not anything, not on the offensive side of the ball. It's been the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So 7.5 wins. They open the non-con is at UCLA and Chip Kelly right here at the Rose Bowl, a couple blocks away. Home to Rich Rodriguez and Jacksonville State. Home to the Duquesne Duke, CJ Sullivan's alma mater. Subscribe to the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. And then later in the year, they had November 18th, they head to Mikey Stadium to take on the Army Black Knights.
You think they can go 3-1, guys?
No, I think 2-2.
You're probably right.
I think between Jacksonville State and that, remember that game, November 18th at Army is going to be cold as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm with you.
Yeah.
2-2.
2-2.
No. In the non-conference at UCLA, which they could win, right?
No.
Freshman quarterback who doesn't even want to be there, Dante Moore. Jacksonville
Why does he
State
not want to be there?
NIL apparently.
Oh.
Ruffling some feathers over there. Jacksonville State lost by like 30 to their only FBS competition last year. Duquesne sucks. And Georgia State. Oh wait, what's the fourth one?
At Army. On
At
November
Army.
18th.
Okay, that's probably a loss. So yeah, 2-2. Never mind. I thought we were looking at the Georgia State.
All right, glad we rolled through there.
Wait. Let me point out something real quick. Grayson McCall career stats: 78 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Okay.
Woo!
Let me recall, or let me point out something to you. Remember what happened to Brendan Armstrong after Robert and I left?
Yeah.
You talking shit about Big Bird?
On a
Talking
mission.
shit about Big Bird. Come on.
To prove
Tim
he's not a
Beck guy.
system quarterback.
Tim Beck.
And listen,
He's gonna be drinking Beck's beer in a couple years.
Sam-
Unemployed.
Hello.
Okay, all
Sam
right.
Pinckney ranks as the #1 NFL prospect in the entire conference at wide receiver. 71 catches, almost 1,000 yards. Look, they got guys.
It could be Ed.
They
Pinckney.
do have a lot of receivers, a lot of running backs. The offense should be, I mean, as long as Tim Beck lets them do their thing, the offense should be very good.
2-2 non-con.
Let's 2-2 in the non-con. Let's go to the pods of the Sun Belt. Home to Georgia State on a Thursday night, which once again I will repeat that Georgia State's never lost in Conway. We took Coastal, but obviously that game scares me a little bit. So that's 1-0. We all took Coastal, despite the history. Then they go to Paulson Stadium, take on Georgia Southern. I got Georgia Southern winning that one. So 1-1.
3 straight road games.
Yeah, then they get a bye week. They're at App State. They don't win ever. They've never won in Kid Brewer, so that ain't happening. Then back at the you got to like it if you're Arkansas State on the third leg of 3 straight road games at Centennial Bank in Jonesboro, taking on Butch Jones. But I will call for Coastal to get this win. I got Coastal there sitting at 4 wins.
Yeah, I think in those 4 games, I think 2-2 is fair.
I got them at 5-3 only because even if they go 2-2 there, I think between the road trip to UCLA and the road trip to Army, they're a good enough team to, get a half win out of that. I'll give them another half win in this second 4-game stretch. So I got them at 5-3.
All right. Then the next stretch is home to Marshall. I took Marshall to win this one, so 0-1 there. At SB Ballard Stadium, taking on Old Dominion. That's a win. Home to Texas State. That's a winnable game. And then home to JMU on November 25th.
I mean, getting Arkansas State and Texas State from the West is awesome. I'm going to give them 3 in that last stretch, which makes them 7-5.
I'm on the under.
You think they get either Marshall or JMU at home?
Yeah.
And they beat one of them?
Yep.
It's
still on the under, though, which means, I mean,
I actually might lock this. I'm thinking about locking.
I think there's too many questions for me to lock it, but
build me 8 wins here. Build me 8 wins.
Okay. So Jacksonville State, Duquesne, Army out of conference. That's 3. Georgia State 4, Arkansas State 5, ODU 6, Texas State 7, and then they could beat either Marshall or James Madison at home or Georgia Southern or on the road. I mean, it's doable.
Let me tell you what. Some of the losses you guys gave them. Army they beat last year. Marshall they beat last year. App State. Wait, was that one of the losses?
They don't even have the coach from last year, dude.
App State they beat last year. I'm just saying, you guys are just thinking this team that
they
has
also
been
barely beat an FCS
pretty
last year. You're just saying Jacksonville State's just going to get waxed by them.
Well, again, I feel like you guys see a coaching change and you think, oh, the program is kaput, right? Oh, you're locking.
I will lock up the under.
Lock battle, Patty.
Let me say this. Last 3 seasons, yes, Jamie Chadwell, great coach. 11-1, 11-2, 9-4. They haven't sniffed less than 8 wins, in quite some time.
How'd Tony Elliott do after taking over Bronco Mendenhall's?
6-6 Wahoos? He went 4-8.
Did he go 4-8? No, he didn't. He won 3 and.
Oh yeah, 3-8. Sorry, or 3-7 because they only played
No, they played
10 games.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it's 3-8. I don't know. Either way,
Coaching matters. I think Tim Beck is a bad hire.
You know,
I'm locking up the under.
Here's the other thing that changes. Grayson McCall stays there. I think that is a major stabilizing force.
He pisses Teal.
Yeah.
He pisses Teal.
I'm sure
that gives them the
everyone
over.
at the fucking Harris Teeter wants to fuck him, but who cares? All right.
Yeah, you guys think you're fading the boys in Teal. They were your darling a couple years ago, and look how quickly the tide has turned. Pathetic.
They went.
I haven't seen any Harris Teeters in Conway. I think you're probably looking at a food line down there.
Look, they hired a guy that I didn't think was a very good offensive coordinator.
But to be fair though, Dave Doran is still the head coach. So I wonder how much Doran's conservativeness limited what Beck was able to do with the offense.
Fair, but I will lock up the under.
Okay.
All right, let's jump on over to the South Alabama Jaguars. Guys, this is a good team. I feel like the disrespect, they should have beat UCLA. All right, they're not like this Coastal Carolina team. This team was legit last year. I think if you're a fan of the Jaguars, I think you got to be very, very excited about the future that you have because I mean, guys, they were pretty damn close to winning the whole thing. Carter Bradley's back.
Yeah.
Webb's back at the running back spot. Lacey's back at the wide receiver spot. I mean, I really like questions a little bit on the O-line, only returning 3 of 5, but I mean, the defense, I think is pretty good. They returned 18 starters. 18 starters on a
Their
team.
experience chart is 4th in the country, 1st in the Sun Belt.
Non-con is
Carter Bradley is 75 years old as well.
This is his 6th year.
Yeah. So the non-con is at Tulane, home to South. That's a great first week. By the way, underrated week 1 matchup. South Alabama at Tulane. You don't need all this bullshit Power 5 stuff when they're all signing up. Just go watch South Alabama at Tulane. That should be a barn burner.
It's a good game.
Watch out for week 2, though. Southeast Louisiana FCS playoff team won a game in the playoffs a year ago. They're good. Sneaky FCS opponent there. Then they head to Stillwater to take on the mullet Mike Gundy, and then they're home to Jim McElwain and the Fire Up Chips, Central Michigan. 2-2 in the non-con, but I mean,
I want to go 3. I want to go 3-1, guys. I think South Alabama is the best team in the Sun Belt this year. I think they get either Tulane or Oklahoma State.
So damn impressive.
They could, man.
Carter Bradley in his 4 previous years had never even thrown for 1,000 yards. Comes out last year, 3,300 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, 1,200. What is Kane Womack doing to offensively? This program is probably the most interesting moving forward.
I'll say 2-2, but like I said, I could totally see 3-1, NC Nick.
I see 2-2 as well, but I could totally see 3-1 as well. Yeah, I agree.
Then they head. Okay, so now we start the conference play at JMU at ULM. I mean, they could be 2-0 here. Let's talk about JMU. They've replaced a lot. They're an amateur program, and they used to be a girls' school. So
won the East last year.
All those things against them.
That's the best recruiting thing we got. 60+% chicks, guys want to come there. We get studs. Todd Santeo came on campus. He said, "Look at all these tits and ass flying around."
Now I understand why Charles Haley
was it scattered.
Scattered ass.
1-1 or 2-0, NC Nick at JMU at ULM to start.
Yeah, you know what? Let me throw Patty a bone here and say South Alabama, they get that, that hot start that maybe they knock off Oklahoma State, but then they come back down to earth and lose one on the road when they're thinking a little too high of themselves. So I'm going to say they lose one in this next 4-game stretch.
After that, they're home to Southern Miss, home to Louisiana. I think they go 3-1 in that 4-game stretch.
That's exactly what I have.
Patty C?
Yeah.
So I'm 6-2.
Yeah, so I got them at 5-3. Then the backside of that at Troy on a Thursday, great game. What was that? 10-9 a year ago, I feel like, or 10-6, something like that.
Yeah.
Then they are home to Arkansas State. They are home to Marshall and at Texas State. What's the win total on this?
8.
Oh.
And what do you think?
I
3-1
think,
in
I
that
think
last.
3-1 in that last stretch.
I think 4-0, and they hit 10 wins, double digits.
so.
You think they win at Troy?
Yep.
They almost did.
Revenge game.
That was a great game.
You don't get revenge on the road on a Thursday night.
Yeah, you do.
So what? 2 plus
Against an
3,
in-state
5
rival.
plus 3, 8. What's that win total at?
8.
8.
I do lean over. I'm not locking this. You're locking this, Nick?
No, I'm not gonna lock it. I mean, I am at 10-2, so it's not a bad play. I'll consider a lock.
Look, I think they're excellent, and the trajectory of the program has to be up. But this was their first winning season in program history.
Yeah,
maybe a fluke happened.
yeah. And in my 10 wins, I had them knocking off either Tulane or Oklahoma State and Troy, both on the road. So I'm not gonna lock it up, but I think South Alabama is the best team in the conference this year.
You're on the over, Patty?
I should be, but I'm on the under because I have too many overs. I don't know if that's.
You think they're only going to win 7?
Yeah, I guess
with that team, like everybody coming back, and they won 10 last year.
They had what was it? The Ladanian Webb had how many rushing yards? Over 1,000. Yeah.
Stud.
Yeah, they're probably over.
All right, well, let's talk about that Troy Trojans team that also is sitting at 8. Troy returns Gunnar Watson at the quarterback spot. They also have Vidal Sassoon back at running back. Second team all Sun Belt a year ago. I mean, you got to like, if you're a Trojans fan, I mean, I get it. You're only bringing back 12 starters as a collective, 6 on offense, 6 on defense, but bringing back your like core offense. Now the offensive line, I think, is something that you circle.
Yeah, is it really the core offense when you only have 2 linemen returning and your best receiver is now in Eugene?
I'm just saying, like Gunnar Watson, Vidal Sassoon, Stoudemire, Rogers back, Lewis played at the tight end spot. So, I mean, there's a good core back. It's just not the offensive line. But
when I look at Troy, I compare it with South Alabama because they were neck and neck in the Sun Belt West last year. Their game came down to the wire, and they're both sitting at 8 as an over-under. And I think South Alabama just brings back so much more.
Fair. But let's talk about this non-con.
Womack is a defensive guy, right?
Womack's with South Alabama.
Yeah, Summerall is a defensive guy.
Yeah.
He was at Kentucky before under what's his name? Stoops, who of all things is a
Womack,
defensive
I believe,
mastermind.
was at Indiana with Tom Allen.
Okay. No, either way, what I'm saying is Summerall, even though he's 12-2 1 year, I think his work at Kentucky as the defensive coordinator kind of speaks for itself too. I don't think that was a fluke performance, in other words, defensively last year from them.
Well, let's talk about this non-con, because home to Stephen F. Austin is a pretty good FCS team. Watch out for the Lumberjacks. Then at the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, taking on Kansas State. Then home to Western Kentucky, who
interesting game,
very good team in the CUSA, and then heading to West Point to take on the Black Knights. So I will say 3-1.
I'm gonna go 3-1 too. I don't feel great about beating both Western Kentucky and Army, but give me 3-1.
Patty?
Yeah, 3-1. Western Kentucky, did they, if I'm not mistaken, have one of the top offenses?
Oh yeah,
and they bring back a ton too.
That's gonna be an interesting matchup to watch there.
Strong defense for strong offense for sure.
3-1 in the non-con. In conference, they're home to JMU week 3. Then they're at Georgia State. Then home to Arkansas State, and then they get a bye before going to San Marcos. They should be honestly
4-0.
It could be 4-0 there.
I'm thinking 4-0.
All right, let's do it.
So that would put them at 7-1. Final stretch of the season. Home to South Alabama.
I gave
at
it to Troy.
ULM. Home to Louisiana, at Southern Miss. I think they're going to win 9 games here, guys. I think like maybe even 10.
I think they were going to win 11.
Wow. So I think they win 2 out of those last 4, and they get to 9. I'm on the
numbers
over.
8. I'm locking the over.
I think I'll lock this too. This just seems like build me the case on 7.
Yeah, let's
Build me the
find
case.
5
Western-
losses here.
Yeah.
So what if they only are 2-2 out of conference?
So you're saying Western Kentucky beats them?
Yeah.
Well,
or Army
on the road.
Okay. I just don't think you guys are crowning Army after all these.
They could lose to Georgia State on the road.
They could lose to JMU.
They could lose to JMU. They could lose to at Southern Miss and South Alabama.
Okay, I'll take the over. I won't lock it. I feel like I should.
I feel like
this.
they're going
Have some balls, lock it. I mean, I'm not, but you go ahead.
This will be my 5th lock. All right, fuck it, let's go.
quarterback situation. at
Trojan man.
Troy, Gunnar Watson. What a redshirt senior. I mean, he's
experienced. He's been there.
Yeah.
Lock it up. You locking it up too,
I'm
buddy?
locking it. Yeah, I'm
Get
locking
on over there. Lock it up. Be you, buddy.
it.
All right, let's talk about the final school.
Oh, do we have to?
Yeah, the James Madison Dukes.
I'm gonna shotgun a fucking beer.
And
honor-
there we go.
Shotgun Patty C over here.
Going here in a second.
The Dukes have a win total of also 8. They cannot play in the Sun Belt Championship because some stupid fucking NCAA rules, but they can go bowling this year. And man, JMU, they did lose. Todd Centeo's off to I feel like he's signed with an XFL team. I can't remember which team, but he's in the Extreme Football League. So I think that makes it kind of interesting on why and how we should expect. Also, didn't their top defensive player get taken away by Ole Miss, I believe?
Well, let me tell you this. Todd Centeo, his final year at Colorado State, 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Comes to JMU, 25 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
You know what that is?
We have
Steve Adazio.
Yeah, that too. That too.
That's the Steve Adazio one. You're starting a redshirt freshman quarterback. I'll ask you this, Petty C.
Yeah.
The same questions you had about Appalachian State's starting with a redshirt freshman. Alonzo Barrett seems to be the guy that's going to be the starter over Jordan McLeod.
I'd be lying if I said I knew shit about this guy.
You know what's going to help though? All 5 starters return on the offensive line.
And this is not like
their offensive line's fucking
like
good.
I want to say Nick Kidwell is the only guy that was first team preseason all Sun Belt. Who's the other guy?
13 starters back all in all. 6 on offense, 7 on the defensive side.
Shawn Wyatt is also second team preseason all conference. But dude, all 5 of these dudes are freaking awesome on that offensive line.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you're looking at the over of 8, well, last year they won 8 and they only played 11 games.
That's crazy.
Hey,
so you get an extra game to hit that. Let's talk about the non-con. Home to Bucknell, the Bison. They only had like 1 game scoring over 17 points. That's a win. At Virginia, that's a win.
Gotta be. If there's one wish I have for the whole season, folks, we beat UVA.
Let me ask you about this one. In Logan against Utah State.
That's a tricky game.
Far-ass trip on the second end of a back-to-back after playing Troy. I lean JMU.
Dude, it's a back-to-back-to-back.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
Although
straight away.
Charlottesville's 45 minutes away. It's not
True.
exactly.
True.
I'll give it to JMU. 3-0 in the non-con, but then they host UConn back on November 11th.
They'll probably find a loss.
I'm going to say 1 loss in there. 3-1.
Yeah, I think I agree, guys.
Yep.
All right. Then in conference play, at Troy on September 16th. We factored that in as a win for Troy. At least I did.
Yep.
Yeah. 0-1. So that would be their second loss. Home to South Alabama. Man.
Sun Belt screwing you guys, giving you both Troy and South Alabama. That is
playing the championship game, and we're giving you.
To be fair though, you avoided both last year.
Fair.
Give them one of them.
It's not like South Alabama was projected to be diesel last year.
Well, I did lock them up on the over, so
you know, clairvoyant.
Subscribe to the college football experience. Pick Dundee, here to stay. Guys, 0-2. Start the non-con or the conference play
in Harrisonburg,
Bridgeforth Connect.
Get the fuck out of here. We're going 1-1.
Actually, I think I just had JMU beating South Alabama in that game, but I damn sure don't feel good about it.
Well, I can tell you this: I do think they clip Georgia Southern at home after the bye. They're at home. At Marshall, I think they lose. So I got a 1-3 in their first 4.
I'll say 2-2.
2-2.
All right, then so I got them 4 wins right now, 4-4.
Patty C and I have them at 5-3.
Okay, now it gets a little interesting because once again, the win total, I'm sitting on that number. They can't afford a loss. Home to ODU, win. At Georgia State, win. Home to App State,
loss.
At Coastal, win. Man, but that really comes down to that South Alabama or that App State game. I probably think they go 8-4. But I think if I had to lean any which way, they're starting a redshirt freshman quarterback. I will go on the under with the JMU Dukes.
I'm with you. You know, Georgia State, even though we don't think they're going to be good this year, they always jump up and bite somebody.
They almost beat JMU last year.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's going to be JMU this year. Maybe it will be. But we keep on chalking up, at Georgia State as a loss. They're going to get somebody. I'm on the under.
Guys, let me tell you what. We hit this number in 11 games last year, and many of our losses were without our all-world quarterback. Okay? Here, this is the over, and here's the shotgun to say fuck you both. Ready?
Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that. Half of the fucking shirt. Bridgeforth Connect. Look.
Smell like beer.
That's
the JMU way.
There you go. Folks, that so Patty C, you're on the over? We're on the under.
I think they're 8-4, but I'll lean over just for fun.
Okay, so let me ask you this before we get out of here. What's our trajectory first off on the old JMU Dukes?
Up.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
be up, right?
Really, the thing that makes it up is A, they're becoming a known quantity, and if they keep having good years, then recruiting might improve. And then B, Virginia Tech and Virginia sucking ass. Like we're eventually going to start getting some recruits.
Yeah. Let's talk about who we have in the Sun Belt Championship game. I have the Appalachian State Mountaineers, due to tiebreakers, taking on the South Alabama Jaguars. Nick, what is yours?
The same thing. I thought you had Troy as a better record than South Alabama.
Nope, not in conference.
Oh, well, it's going to be the same thing then, buddy.
Okay. Patty C, what is your Sun Belt Championship?
Give me Coastal Carolina, Big Bird, year 4, proving he's not a system quarterback. And, I feel like South Alabama is right there, but I guess I took Troy over them. That head-to-head, I think, might be a tiebreaker Thursday night at Troy. So I got to go Troy there. Coastal versus Troy.
All righty, folks, that does it. Remember, we're back tomorrow night with the Pac-12 preview. Yes, and who knows what teams will be in what conference tomorrow because this shit's crazy. But we appreciate you rocking. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. Remember, we're breaking down all 133 college football teams with a solo podcast for each and every team in the land. We also are doing every single conference preview. Me, Patty C, NC Nick. Tomorrow night, the Pac-12. Subscribe to the College Football Experience, wherever podcasts can be found. Give us a 5-star review. I saw 30 people in the chat earlier. What the fuck you doing? Hop on over to iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. It takes 30 seconds. Do that. Also, make sure you subscribe to our other feeds, the FCS College Football Experience, which I host, the College Basketball Experience, which I host, the College Baseball Experience with Noah Beanick and myself, and
a scholar.
The Big 12 Experience we got going now, too. Right? I'm not on that one, but subscribe. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. Subscribe there as well, folks. Please give us like the old YouTube's videos, share all that good shit, do all that stuff. Get that SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. They're breaking down all 32 NFL teams. And folks, season's just getting started. I cannot wait. We're 2 weeks away. All right? 2 weeks away. Come talk ball with us in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Until next time, this is the Sun Belt 2023 season preview episode on the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
We can really run and shoot, and you know